Today we have something really cool to talk about and review. It's the Rivian R1S. Now Rivian's a newer EV company, but the two cars they've released so far, the pickup truck, which is the R1T, and the seven-seater, which is right here, the R1S, have been incredibly well received within the entire EV community. I'm going to go over all the cool features, the exterior styling, the interior styling, and why I think this car or truck might be one of the best EVs you can buy. Before we get into all the unique features that make this one of the best EVs around, let's talk about the basics. Like I mentioned, Rivian have two product offerings right now. The first is the R1T, which was the pickup version of this and their first automotive release. And the second, which is right here, is the R1S. This is their version of a seven-seater, full adventure-ready electric utility vehicle. Now, the base Rivian starts at $75,000, offers 530 horsepower, and a 250-mile range. But if you tick every single option box, this car will cost you $115,000, have a quad motor, up to 400 miles of range, and over 830 horsepower. That's ridiculous for this size of car. This particular Rivian R1S is for sale from my friend Justin. If you want to check it out and potentially buy it and you're in the Los Angeles area, please click the link above. Reach out to him. It's an awesome car, super well kept, and only a year old. I think it's super important to look at the EV market in general. Think about the first time computers were invented, how bad it was, how expensive they were, and all the flaws that people had to deal with. The EV market, on the other hand, has only really been around for 10 years, and already we're getting cars and products like this, which are so high quality, so well put together, and it's only been 10 years. If you imagine the entire innovation cycle and the next 20, 30 years from now, it'll be insane to see what they've launched. A lot of EV manufacturers kind of make their cars look like a jelly bean, but Rivian has taken a totally different approach. Both the R1T and the R1S, they have a very distinctive front with this light bar across and these two lights right here, which I really think make the car stand out. When you see one of these behind you, there's no denying what it is, and it's a really interesting stylistic feature that I see in their cars to come, and I think has kind of put them on the map in terms of a good looking electric SUV. You have pretty cool 20-inch wheels with a yellow brake caliper, which I think really makes it stand out. You have a lot of glass all along the side, two Rivian logos right there. And then you have the rear of this car. Kind of reminds me of an older Jeep Wagoneer. To have 7 seats and still have a comfortable ride for each one of your passengers, it's something that's not easy. The design of this car had to follow the practicality, and they've done a pretty good job in encapsulating an entire 7-seater that doesn't look hideous. The back of the car follows the front's design theme with this red light bar, which looks really cool at night. You have raised Rivian letters right there, which I think are a unique design feature. The RS1 badge, but you do have a clean shape. Again, a big SUV that can comfortably accommodate 7 people. One other feature that I really like in the design is this chrome wraparound that comes down right here. I think it really gives the car a clean style. The Rivian gives me REI, upscale, nice quality vibes. I think the design is something unique, refreshing, modern, and very tech forward. I do think it goes against how a Tesla looks, how a electric Ford F-150 looks, and against a lot of the other EVs, which I really think makes this stand out. Before we go inside the Rivian R1S, I want to show you some cool features that are unique to this car. This is a true adventure SUV, and you have these tow hooks, which I think are really sturdy and would definitely help if you get stuck. Also, because of the electric nature of this car, you have a ton of room. Obviously, there doesn't need to be an engine up here, so even this alone is a pretty big trunk. The floor lifts up and you can store even more. But right here, you have a huge amount of storage room. Everything with the Rivian is electric, so no need to close, but just find the button and everything closes up very nicely on its own. Because this specific car is black, everything blends in really nicely. But right here, you can see the charge port. Something really unique to Rivian is as of last month, they've just signed an agreement with Tesla that allows all Rivian cars to use the Tesla charging network. This is a huge, huge advancement for the entire EV industry, but also all Rivian owners. There's tons of tech speckled all around this car. You can see the cameras right there. There's other cameras right here in the little fender. And this car, as much as it is a car, it's also a tech product. Software is really king in electric cars, and the Rivian R1S does it really well. As a 7-seater, this has tons of practicality and tons of storage. If you open up the rear, it's actually split into a 2-sided rear, and you can just push this button and fold down the other side. The floor lies completely flat, and you get a ton of storage space, as you can see. Those right there are the 7-seaters, so the 2 in the back. And if you fold them down, you really have so much room. You can put tons of groceries, tons of whatever you want in the back, but that's not it. But there's even more space here, and if you go below, there's even more space. So really, if you wanted to, you could have quite a lot that you could haul back here. I think there are really only 2 things that aren't powered on the entire Rivian. I think one is this little back section right here, and the other is putting the seats back up. Other than that, every single thing that you touch and interact with is completely powered. Okay, I think it's time to hop in the Rivian R1S and see how it feels. Even when you just get in the vehicle, everything's pretty nice quality. Your initial touch point is this nice, I believe, fake leather, but you also have a cool wood trim, and this theme is carried across the entire car. Here's how it looks from the driver's seat of the Rivian. You have a really nice layout, a steering wheel that feels the part, has nice fake leather all around it. You have some nice wood here, and just 2 small little dials that can control a lot of things like music volume. You don't have a ton of buttons. Most things are actually saved for the screens. Some people love it, some people hate it, but it is sort of the way it's going. I think some features could definitely be pulled out and made actual physical buttons, but in general, it's a very clean setup. You have this nice finished silver trim coupled with this wooden trim that really goes along the entire interior. You have a nice Rivian logo there. And you also have a little adventurous plaque there, which I think is sort of gimmicky, sort of cool. But overall, when you look at all of the different materials when it comes to the seat, all the way to the dashboard, all the way even to the speaker grills, everything is really, really nice quality and just feels premium. I've always really liked the shape of the seats. The way that they look really looks futuristic, and I think if you come to the back, it highlights that even more. The seats are almost a 3-part, really high quality. You have the metal finish here, some speakers inside the seat headrest, and they look really, really nice. They look adventurous. You have these little buckles right here which secure some stuff, but overall the seats and the quality of the materials are very, very high. Everything is meant to be pretty adventurous. Even the floor mats are kind of a nice textured, almost wood style floor mat, which I think fits directly into the ethos of this car. I won't do an entire demo of the software of the main infotainment screen, but what I will say is your controls are here, and basically every control is here. Because you don't have a ton of physical buttons, everything is in the middle. It does have a very responsive method of taps and all the different things, but when you want to do anything, even control the vents, it's in here. There are no physical buttons, there are no physical maneuvers. You control everything from the front screen. I do feel that's a little strange, especially if you just want to change where the vent's pointing and you're driving down the highway. It could be a little annoying. But in terms of the actual software and the feel of the software, it feels like an iPhone or an Android. Stuff is very fast to the touch. You have all your driving modes, and you're not touching something and then 2 minutes later it's turning on. Everything is super fast. With the Rivian, there's literally no limit to storage. Because there's no transmission tunnel, you have this entire space right here, which again, you can just kind of put stuff, put water bottles, put whatever you like. A really cool, fun feature of the Rivian is when you're adventuring, if you want to have some sound, you can pull this out and you can actually bring your Rivian speaker with you. How cool is that? Stepping into the Rivian, you notice a couple things right off the bat. First, I'm 6'1", 6'2", and I still have a ton of leg room. There's no shortage of leg room for these initial passengers. And you also have a really cool looking panoramic sunroof. This is something that a lot of cars now are bringing in, but you're immediately just greeted with quality and some really cool features. The rear passengers also have a ton of quality. You have the same cool speaker grills. You get to look at these nice seats, and you even have a screen in the back where you can control your seat heating, you can control the climate, and everything's just, a really nice high quality experience. Because this is a 7-seater, I think it's super important to test how big those last two seats actually are. In order to put the rear seats down, just have a nice little button right there, kind of folds down automatically, and you have a good amount of room to get in. Let's see. Now, something that really surprised me is the practicality of this 7-seater. I've seen a lot of 7-seater SUVs that claim to be 7-seaters, but there's really no space. But you can see I still have a ton of room. And no joke, I feel like I'd be comfortable in the back two seats for 2-3 hours. It's really not super cramped at all. They've done a really good job at compacting everything. Like I said, I'm 6'1", 6'2", and I still have a ton of headroom. This is a super comfortable car. When you're in the back, you get to see the 5 other passengers that could be sitting in front of you. It is kind of a cool place to sit. You feel like the back of a school bus, but it's a nice place to be. The entire headliner is this sort of Alcantara-ish material. You have a ton of space, a ton of knee space, and ultimately all 5 back seats are very comfortable. Because the Rivian is a true off-road SUV, you get cool things that you wouldn't get in normal SUVs. You get tie-down points, which I think is a really cool, subtle feature. You also get a 1500 watt outlet right here, and you also get a air compressor. And this is super helpful if you're a biker or you even need to fill your tires up. It's just these little cool features that I think Rivian is doing that not a lot of other EVs, especially adventure EVs, are really doing right now. Another super cool feature, Rolls-Royce has their umbrellas while Rivian has a flashlight. How cool is that? If you need a flashlight and you're out, your car has got you covered. Something really unique too that Rivian offers, you have the ability to lower this if you're going on a long highway cruise. Now, let's talk about its competitors. Now, this car at a pretty high price point does have a fair amount of competitors. You have the Model X, possibly the Cybertruck, the Hummer EV, the BMW iX. While all those cars are really great, I think the Rivian sets itself apart in a couple different ways. Firstly, the company. The company has a partnership with Amazon where they're doing a lot of their delivery trucks. They have 2 new vehicles on the way, the R2 and the R3, which are a lower price point Rivian, which brings a lot of the same tech that's in this. And they've just partnered with Tesla to allow all of the Rivian customers access to the Tesla charging points. So while I think, yes, there is a ton of competition in this sort of EV SUV, I think the Rivian has done it in a really unique way, and one that a lot of early adopters and first movers are appreciating. You have amazing quality, which you don't get in cars like a Tesla Model X. You have a great feel to all the materials, and you have a cool, comfortable 7-seater that can go 400 miles on just one charge. Now, while the Rivian R1S is certainly not for everyone, it does offer an extremely compelling solution to a 7-seater all-electric SUV. Thank you so much to my friend Justin for letting me film with your car. If anyone out there is interested in this specific car, it's actually for sale right now. Please follow the link in my description. Reach out to Justin and you'll get an awesome Rivian. Thanks so much for watching.